Cheers to you, dear listeners, and welcome to Metal Gear Mondays, the most thorough Kojima-themed podcast on the planet. I am your host, Sam Wright, and I'm here with you again this week after a interesting week last week. I left these guys to their own devices, and they ruined the show forever.
Hell yeah, I did.
How I added. And so I'm back to right this ship, but I can't correct it alone, unfortunately. So I'm here today, joined by Cole Duncan.
Hey, thank you for finally being back so I don't have to do the intro again, because damn it, that's rough. I just don't have the same energy
You did it was a good intro.
I don't have the same kind of energy that you've got coming out the gate. It's just, it's a weird dynamic there.
Okay. Well, if you say so, I don't quite believe that. I thought it was good. Anyway, I'm trying to give you fucking props, dude.
Thank you. I'm trying to give you props. You got like the chops, my guy.
Whatever. Anyway, I'm also joined by Chris Hampton.
White chocolate is back to give this girl a taste of my milky goodness.
You can't be pulling Nakey Jakey references like that.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking next, dude.
Yeah.
Next.
Nah.
Next, Dad.
You on next? I'm on backflip.
Doing gainers off of the house right now.
Oh, yeah.
Gainers. Oh my God. Y'all need to go to Nakey Jakey on YouTube and just watch every video he's ever made in his life.
So funny.
In any case, we're back. It's another week, and we're here to talk. We're not quite done with Death Stranding yet.
We're gonna beat that horse for a little bit longer.
Oh yeah, we're gonna Death Strand this topic.
It's still got some life in it.
Still got a little bit of life in it, because today we're going to be talking about characters. We're going to kind of talk about each individual character and a little bit more about them, what makes them tick, what we think about them, how we think maybe how we would have improved them within the story. I don't know. I haven't decided.
We're just playing jazz right now.
This is all. We're just fucking smoking jazz cigarettes and
yeah.
handing out losses.
Jazz.
So
I haven't heard that one since the 20s.
Since yes, the loosey goosey jazz cigarette. So before we get into it, I just wanted to bring up on the episode proper, in case you didn't hear it. Last Tuesday we put out an episode called The Long Goodbye, and announced that Alessio was not going to be coming back to the show full time, which on one hand is, sad. But on the other hand, is super great for him, because he's going off on to do incredible things. So like, we're super proud and happy for him. Doesn't mean that he's not going to be back on the show. He's welcome on the show anytime, and you might even hear him on like an episode or two, in the future. But for now, Alessio will not be stepping back into the hot seat regularly. So that's a little sad, but yeah, we love you, Alessio.
Big love to you, buddy.
You'll also notice that Zach is not here with us this week. Zach has also left the show, thankfully.
Yeah,
because but the unfortunate
we
news
voted
is
him
that
off.
he'll probably be back. Yeah, we voted him off the island. We don't want him anymore. But the unfortunate news is that he will probably be back next week. So no, we love our Zach. And he's in the middle of prepping for his big move back to the States, which I think we discussed. So we won't disclose where he's going just yet, just in case he's not comfortable with that. He's a very secretive squirrel, but he's coming back to the States, and we're very excited about that. You want to talk about, before we get into like the danger here, do you want to talk about what's happening for us later, a couple months from now?
Yeah, I'm down for that.
Yeah, Cole, I want you to lead into this, Cole, because you're the one who like fronted the idea.
Okay, so Zach, like Sam said, is coming back to the States here very soon, and we all kind of were, we're all super excited about it. So we were wanting to try and figure out a way that we could see him. So we realized Chris and I live 2 hours away. We just hung out all week, or for like half a weekend together this last weekend. And so we started like talking and thinking like, yo, dude, like, let's just make a road trip out of this. Because originally the idea was like we were all going to fly out to Virginia, but then, I was like, yeah, I'll just drive to Nashville. If Sam can make it to Nashville, the three of us could just fly out together. And then Chris was like, well, dude, why don't we just drive? And I was like, you want to take a road trip? And he's like, yeah, I'll do a road trip. And so we're going to have a Metal Gear Mondays road trip here coming up in probably April.
Oh, yes.
Going to drive from Nashville to wherever the hell he decides to, settle.
Yeah.
And
lay his dainty head.
Yes. And we just the other night made the most bomb-ass playlist for that trip. And I think we're going to be posting it for both Apple Music and Spotify listeners. I think. I know for sure we can do it for Apple Music listeners.
Well, if you'll send the playlist to me, I can put it on Spotify.
Send the playlist to you.
Ooh.
On Apple Music, and I don't have that.
How else am I going to send it to you? It's on Apple Music.
You're going to have to send me a list of the songs.
Can you open the playlist and preview the songs that are on there?
Yeah. I mean,
maybe. When I was looking at it on my phone, it was just showing me like a truncated list. I don't know. We don't have to talk about this now. This is
we can always talk about the playlist on the Patriot Club.
This is wildly inappropriate.
Oh,
so unprofessional. I'm just really disappointed. Zach's gone for what, 10 minutes and everything.
Look, I have to with his absence. I really have to like up my like shithead game. So
okay,
I'm really trying here.
It's like when Sam's not here, I have to up my sass game.
Yeah, and your sass game was on point last week. Let me tell you.
I think it's still here.
I'm here for it.
Yeah.
All right. You know what else I'm here for?
What, Sam?
Content. So, do you want to dive into talking about these characters?
Yeah, let's talk about some characters, dude.
Yeah.
All right. Obviously, hella spoilers. So if you are still not done with Death Stranding, and for some reason are listening to this podcast,
Alessio
up to date,
as of late.
Yeah. And for some reason you're still listening to this podcast at current. Stop.
What are you doing?
Get some help.
Yeah.
Go back.
Get some help. Turn around. But yeah, that's our warning. And so we're going to dive right in. Who do we want to start with? Who do you want to talk about first?
I mean,
I feel
we got the main character, right?
Yeah. Well, do we want to like end with the main character, or do we want to start with like the main character and work our way down?
I don't know. Starting up top with the main character.
All right.
I feel like Kojima would want us to go in order of appearance.
In order of appearance. Okay. Well,
so then we're going to talk about the crow that dies at the beginning of Death Stranding.
Yes.
So with the decomposition of the crow, I really think that symbolizes a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
No, so that means we're going to start our discussion with old Normie Norm himself, Sam Porter Bridges.
Oh, yeah.
So the other thing that I do want to mention is that Alessio, I guess, so I said this I'm going to say this on the mainline episode because I have to. On the episode I recorded with Alessio last week, we ended the episode because Jason Zarniak wrote in to the Facebook and said, I can't remember, like some episode in the 70s, we were talking about, I think, Peace Walker. And Alessio had we were like discussing Death Stranding a little bit at the top of the episode. And Alessio had said that if Sam's name was actually Sam Porter Bridges, he would do the Cinnamon Challenge. And we we completely fucking forgot about that being a thing. And so Alessio agreed to do the Cinnamon Challenge based on Sam Porter Bridges' name. So once he's feeling a little bit better in his tum-tum, he's going to record that. We're going to post it on the YouTube. Yeah. So Sam Porter Bridges, dumb name or not dumb name? First things first.
Kind of a dumb name.
Kind of a dumb name? Chris?
I don't know. It's okay. Samuel.
Samuel.
What is
strong name, Samuel?
What does that
Samuel's
mean?
definitely a strong name.
It's a very strong name.
I don't know. It's just like there's a lot about this game that is very on the nose. But I mean, that would be like if my name was Cole Booze Guy Duncan. It's just, or actually no. It'd be further than that. It'd be like Cole Booze Guy Lippman.
Yeah,
like the name of my company is.
Well, I guess the difference is if you look back at it, the difference is that like that is his mom's name. You know what I mean, Lisa Bridges.
Yeah,
like it is his actual like last name. Like it's not just a company to him.
Sure.
And I don't know if like the company was named after Bridges or if Bridges was named like the Bridges was the company and they just took the name, but it did wind up symbolizing something at the end of it.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of think it was a clunky name.
I mean, it is a little bit of a clunky name. Well, we had some spirited discussion 2 weeks ago in our Metal Gear versus Death Stranding episode about the nature of Sam and who he like reminds us of, like a parallel to the Metal Gear series. And I think Chris and myself landed on Raiden as like a comparison character.
Yeah, but I mean specifically Metal Gear Solid 2 Raiden, not
not 4.
It's Mr. Cyborg Ninja 2.0.
Yeah, not Rising Revengeance Raiden.
No.
Because Sam we were tagged on Twitter by I wish I remembered who did this right now, but I can't. We're so buried in notifications at this point. But
first world
we were
problem
tagged
right there.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, we were tagged on Twitter. There it is. We were tagged on Twitter by God bless America. Here it is. By Mag Be the Movement, Mag Gamer Inc. on Twitter, asking us, serious question, did Sam Bridges speak more in Death Stranding than Venom Snake did in Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain? Who spoke more overall? And tagged a couple of like Metal Gear Twitters in that tweet. And I think overall, Sam probably talked more.
Yeah,
would you say?
Sure did. Yeah,
I that's correct.
Okay, so overall, Sam talked more, but kind of like most characters that Norman Reedus plays, you're meant to kind of like put yourself into the situation of the main character, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's a little bit more blank slate than a traditional main character would be.
I think that's true.
On purpose?
Yeah. So I actually have something for this.
Okay.
Because I was putting this together when I was working on a project for the podcast. And it was one of, I think, the interviews. And it's called Bridges Needs Homo Ludens.
Mm-hmm.
Is the name of the email. And it's
Yeah.
from Heartman. Right. So, is it okay if I read this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool. Because it's a couple paragraphs, but the text is, and this is Heartman speaking, to be clear. I have already spoken at length about the new varieties of man that have emerged in the wake of chiral pollution and from the resulting phobias. Homo demons, Homo gestalt, not to mention those touched by dooms. This much is common knowledge. I, however, would poise that we could further categorize the humans in this day and age. Take our comrades Mama and Lochna, for example. They are creators, are they not? People who use tools to make things. Craftspeople, Homo faber. Consider dead man, one who looks the dead in their eyes every day, one who takes their organs as his own. his relationship with death is transcendental, sublime. It is, in essence, his faith, and he is homo religioso. I'm butchering that. As for myself, homo loquens, a linguist, one who seeks to understand this world through the language of science and logic. There is, however, another very special type of human, a breed that would serve bridges rather well. Homo ludens, they who play. Be it deliberate or unintentional, Homo ludens unite people, creating culture, shaping the very world around them, not through violence, nor laws or prescriptions, but rather through metaphorical acts of play. I know of only one person who matches this description, the one they call the Great Deliverer, Sam Porter. Despite Die-Hardman's best efforts, however, his whereabouts are still unknown. So I think like that description makes it pretty obvious that Kojima is trying to make Sam represent the player.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty right there.
Yeah, that's pretty on the nose there. And I think that was kind of like the whole discussion we had too about like a lot of that stuff being in the emails and the interviews and stuff like that. A lot of like stuff, and I think we're probably going to talk a lot more about this next week, I'm assuming, but a lot of the stuff is very like transparent and on the nose if you dig into those email things.
Mm-hmm.
So, so Sam is meant to be this like kind of a blank character almost, but with a lot of like he is there as a device to make everybody else's stories more interesting, I think.
Yeah, I think
for sure.
He's like what do you call that? Seinfeld? Like he's the everyman.
Yep.
But
I think the most important thing I think that he does is he's Cliff's son, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I know we're just doing analysis right now, but I kind of want to echo, I think, something that Alessio kind of said, which was, damn it, I wish I'd known that a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
I mean, like, and like, it's like you kind of knew that was coming a while off, but it would just have made that game just a little bit better, just knowing just there is that kind of connection there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't think it would have detracted from Sam's character, just knowing a while out that, oh shit, no, this is your dad the entire time.
Yeah.
How you feel? Yeah, Chris.
Well, I think it would have made the story a little more obvious from the outset, and we would have felt like the motivation for the character would have been there more.
Sure. and maybe that's, I mean, it goes back to what I was saying, like whenever we had our giant screaming match for the first time, me and Zach James were on the same side.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That time you guys were all wrong.
Oh, go fuck yourself. But no, like that just having that kind of motivation. And I'm not asking for, I wouldn't have been asking for it for the entire game, because, you know, I understand that mystery is the kind of lifeblood of story. It's that kind of intrigue, but just having that little tidbit of like, oh, okay, well, now I know a little bit more about my character, and now I know a little bit more about my quote-unquote antagonists' motivations, which kind of can turn out to be my own motivations as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
So I think, like, I feel a little typecast, guys, as the Kojima fanboy on the podcast as we were talking.
Now, how much of that is self-inflicted, though?
A lot of it is a lot of it was me being a little facetious and poking fun.
Yeah.
But
Chris actually has a full-on shrine in his home to Kojima. I didn't show that to you guys, but it's honestly kind of impressive.
It's secret.
Keep it secret, keep it safe.
Yes. So I think that a good story in a video game is something where the mystery is kind of slowly revealed to you, right? If you think about Final Fantasy VII. Fantastic, though very complicated story. And the mystery of Cloud and his background, and like that he's not who he thinks he is, kind of slowly reveals itself to you. Not all at once, but it litters like all these moments of like reinforcing of like, oh, this is who this character is. And then like when the moment happens and you realize the big epiphany that Cloud doesn't remember the past correctly, and he wasn't a soldier. He wasn't an all caps soldier. He was just a regular grunt soldier. It has impact, right? And I think that's what is not present here, is that a lot of the moments could have had a lot more impact if the setup had been there, but it seems like we were more focused on world building and weird scientific explanations about why things are the way they are.
Yeah. It's, well, because I think like that's the other thing too, is that I think a lot of it would probably be a little bit clearer and have a little bit more impact if, again, going back to that old argument, is that like maybe if a lot more of that was in the game itself instead of like being hidden behind these walls of text, then maybe it would be a little bit like would have that impact, you know. But
yeah, I don't know. The story was very touching, and yeah, I think the moments where I actually felt things the most were the moments with Sam. So if Sam is really supposed to stand in for the character, which I think we all kind of agree that that's the case, then bang up job on that, because when Sam was supposed to feel something, I felt like I was reacting in the way that Sam would have.
Yeah. I guess so. I think, I don't know. My brain is trying to formulate thoughts and is having a really hard time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I just like, I felt like, I think it definitely did allow me to have my own emotions about particular situations, but I think that is a blessing and a curse, because I thought a lot of shit in that game was real stupid.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think if like maybe he had a little bit more of like a character and formed like a little bit more of his own opinions, then maybe I would have seen them a little bit closer to like his level. I think, I don't know if it kind of works reverse for me. I think if you're going to have a character that is a blank slate that you're supposed to project, you're supposed to like project yourself onto, I think those moments have to be a lot tighter for it to work.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's correct. And I think that in a weird sort of way, Kojima's always kind of played fast and loose with narrative, you know. It's like he puts the camera and the story, and he gives you the details of like what he feels you need to know to get the point that he's trying to make in that situation, but not to like actually make sense. Yeah, like
yeah.
I think the closest comparison I can come to is David Lynch, right? So David Lynch will like keep the camera for unnaturally longer periods of time on like something like a character screaming in distress, and I think the purpose of him doing that is it gives you kind of a weird cold chill type thing and goosebumps, and you do feel a real emotive reaction from having seen it. But I think that's what like happens with the story in Death Stranding, is that we're only shown parts that like drive the narrative forward, but it comes across as disjointed.
Yeah, I can see that. I can agree with that. Yeah, I guess it does come across a little bit. It's the game is, like you said, the game is serving a specific purpose, and it's not, it's like, it's trying to get you through the situations around the character as opposed to making you kind of,
Yeah.
like, I don't know. I guess not invested is not the word that I want to use, because you do get kind of invested, but yeah.
But it's like a vehicle almost. Like the character, just like Sam is a vessel that's supposed to be something that represents us. I think a lot of the plot and the relationships between characters, they only exist to drive like the experience of walking across this world and interacting it.
Well, so again, I guess then we, short of like talking more about like the basic stuff, I think we can get more into Sam as we discuss the rest of the characters. So do we want to move on to our next person?
Yeah,
Sure.
I think that makes sense because
I think that's where we're kind of naturally leading to, right? Is that because he is this blank slate, because like all the stuff is happening around him, and he is, and his situation works in service of everybody else. I think that it benefits us to talk about everybody else, and that'll help us like piece together who Sam is.
Just as they help Sam understand who he is and like what his purpose is.
Yeah. So who do you think is next then? Amelie, Cliff,
I guess
Higgs.
I feel like Deadman is. I feel like Deadman is Sam's sidekick in a weird way.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, he for sure is.
Yeah, let's talk about Deadman. By the end of that game, I fucking was in love with Deadman.
He's such
Oh
a
yeah,
character.
he was such a pure boy, and I was like, I must protect Deadman at all costs. Deadman is why I'm here doing this.
No, I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved that man. He's just I don't know, because we made the comparison that he's like Otacon, but he's not Otacon. He's just this like incredibly caring person that you don't see a lot in this world. He's like one of the very few truly compassionate people in this world.
Who I think he's more like? Cause.
How so?
Because he's, in a way, he's kind of manipulated like Cause is by the characters, right?
Would you say played like a damn fiddle?
Yeah.
You would hear.
Okay. God damn it! What have I done?
They played us like a damn fiddle!
Created a monster.
I have created a monster. I could see that. Yeah, he's manipulated into doing this work where we're not really sure.
Yeah.
I can see that in one instance, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, because I definitely get that. But at the same time, Cause was doing that kind of stuff like before, and Cause is a live wire. He's just like I mean, that's the best way I can describe him. He's a live wire. He's rash and just doesn't think before he does anything, or he says that he does, but then is screaming and running into battle. Whereas Deadman is reserved and quiet and calculated and really, really thinks a lot before making any kind of move whatsoever. And I think it's one thing I really liked about the character, is that he's one of the only characters that I can think in this game that grows and truly stopped for a second and thought, hold up, wait, what are we doing? Hold up.
Yeah, I think that what I liked about Deadman is that he's kind of funny.
Oh, he's extremely funny. He's
like
he's our comedic like relief this entire game.
Yeah, and it's got like that weird. I don't know. It has that weird Kojima humor sometimes, like when he pulls Sam, or that moment when you're like in your room and he's just waiting for you in the shower. Like, that was hilarious. I laughed. I was cackling. I was actually rolling on the floor with laughter.
Rafflemel.
Yes.
IRL. Let's get it. Yeah, like he's just this like really like, I wouldn't call him like comic relief even. It's just like he just is in these like situations that are very like awkward and meant to be funny, which I think is good.
I guess what I meant is that he provides levity to a very bleak situation.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I just like I love the character so much because again, like we talked, like we said, he's the one character in the game that has like significant growth, develops and changes as a person. Which I think is also kind of poetic because he was this like stem cell creation, and he was pieced together from parts, and he's the most like he becomes the most human, like out of everybody.
He's like Frankenstein's monster, right? But
without all the murder,
right. Much less murdery.
And then I also kind of love like over the course of the game how he like softens on BBs.
Yeah.
Specifically Lou, and just like realizes that this is maybe not the right thing. He's just a really great character. Like I had like short of like everything with Cliff, like I think the Sam going back to give Deadman a hug at the end of the game might have been the single like best moment in the video game.
Yeah.
Like it was such like a moment, and it was like a this is exactly where you're supposed to be. This is like the pinnacle,
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree with that. I don't know. Those were some of the most touching moments in the game. And then seeing how Deadman grew in his relationship with the BB too. Like that was really adorable and touching.
Kind of giving Sam the like, you're not supposed to do this, but if you did disconnect, you'd be completely off the grid, so I wouldn't know what you were doing, and neither would anyone else. But I shouldn't tell you that because that would be super illegal, right? No, you would never do that. No, I really came to love his character. I wasn't a huge fan of him at the beginning, and I think that was the kind of point, is that you're not really supposed to relate with this literal dead man, but as you grow to understand the Death Stranding, you do start to understand the dead and this kind of hollow person almost who has grown with you.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Deadman a lot. Is the only thing that annoyed me about Deadman was like the constant calls in chapter 10.
Yeah, you can get bent on that one, Ola del Toro.
Benicio
I was gonna say Benicio del Toro. I was like, it's the wrong del Toro, dog.
Yeah, I thought you were about to call him Benito, and I was like, okay, he's not Mussolini.
Yeah, Deadman, that fascist leader of the UCA.
I recall.
Sorry, I still think I'm waking up. All the synapses aren't firing.
They're firing on all cylinders.
We're not there yet. I got the Baja Blast going though, so I should be right as rain here in a little bit.
Fantastic.
Do we have more to say about Deadman?
So on my rating scale, I will give Deadman 10 wholesome boys out of 10.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess like tying him back to Sam is that while like Deadman becomes more human, like you said, Sam, he also kind of makes Sam more relatable. It's like, oh, Sam actually has a decent connection with somebody, and that
he has a friend. He's able to make a friend.
Exactly.
You got a friend in me.
There's like this crazy world out there exists, right? And like Sam is very like anti, everything. And he has this one person that he actually does like come to. I could say love. I think like Sam giving Dead Man a hug after all that time is a symbol of like his love for him, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's true. And it shows like growth on Sam's part too, of like how he overcomes his like debilitating whatever. That phasmophobia. Yeah, that definitely Dead Man is a huge vehicle for Sam's growth as a character.
Yeah.
Cool.
So who's next?
Want to talk Cliff?
Yeah.
Let's talk about Cliff. Clifford Unger, best character in the game.
He's so good. He's so
Yeah.
good.
Daddy Mads.
Daddy Mads.
He's
just so menacing, and that's what I liked about him. He's anytime you go into those like boss fights, it's just scary seeing him like appear somehow.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's all like very like he is very spooky and eerie when he like comes out of the tar, and like he just kind of like, I don't know, it's very unsettling with the doll and the barbed wire and everything like that. Like he's a very cool character.
Yeah. And I think that the reason why Kojima picked Mads is because Mads is really cool.
Yeah. I mean, even like the smoke, like cigarette stuff was because of Mads. Like that wasn't included in the game itself. Like Kojima came out and said like, we included this as part of his character because.
Yeah. Well,
Mads.
And wasn't it that Sony was actually wanting to get Kojima to work with Keanu Reeves, and Kojima was like, "No, I need Mads."
Mm-hmm.
Why not both? Like, make another character for Keanu. There's a bunch of throwaway characters in this game. Just lose one of them and make one for Keanu.
Wickman.
What was that?
Wickman.
Wickman.
Yeah, I don't know. He his like I'm convinced that like so this game is full of characters who are either like super underutilized or like utilized maybe incorrectly, I would say. Yeah. Cliff is the one character I think in this entire game that's used perfectly.
Yeah, he's done just right.
He doesn't stay too long. He's not out of the game too little. Like he's like they dangle him in front of you like this little mystery that's happening on the side. And like he's just used perfectly. Like he's great.
Yeah, no, he is. I mean, because he drums up just the right amount of anxiety. He drums up the right amount of intrigue. And then just his actual character's place in that universe is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of my favorite antagonists for sure.
Yeah. When during the game or before or like at what point in life did you realize that Cliff was probably Sam's dad?
Probably like Vietnam, when you see him kind of like reaching out and try to touch the BB. I was like, oh, hold up. There's something going on here.
Yeah. So you're saying Vietnam, Chris? What about you?
Like in one of the trailers. So I had this like half right guess of the plot of the game, and it was the one where like Cliff comes up through that sewer, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I had the theory that Sam is also the baby, and the game was going to have some like weird time mechanic. And that you're being chased by Cliff because you took his baby, but you took yourself or something like that.
Gotcha.
That was my theory about what Death Stranding was going to be about.
Mm-hmm.
So I got the part about Cliff Mads being dad, right? I got that part right, but I was pretty far off on everything else.
Well, and I think that was intentional too, because the idea was that like you're supposed to think that the baby in the flashbacks is Lou. Like that's the implication that they're trying to like give you. And it like it's not, obviously that's not the case, but there's no like time travel shenanigans or anything like that. It's just kind of, you know, as it is.
Yeah.
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 But going back to what we were saying earlier, I mean, I think that Cliff is the best utilized character in this game. Just period. Like he has a purpose for being there the entire time, anytime he's on screen, unlike some other characters that we'll probably touch on.
So, like, where do we start with Cliff? Like,
That's
where
hard.
do you start talking about his character? Do you start talking about through like the experience of Sam, or do you go chronological?
I guess we can kind of take it chronological just now that we have the context for it, right?
Sure. Yeah, I suppose so.
So let's talk about where he starts.
Yeah. So I have the case reviews pulled up.
Okay.
From the interviews. And the first one there's 3 for Cliff. And the first one goes into like the incident and the situation in the hospital. Which I guess is like a good place to start. So Cliff has a wife and they are expecting a child, and he was a former U.S. Army Special Forces person, and he was cooperating with President Strand doing the BB experiments, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So up until a certain point, he'd been cooperating with them fully because he wanted, he had this hope that like his child and his wife was going to survive. But really, he was being used by Bridges and through Bridges, kind of by the President of the United States to contribute to the BB experiments.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think he realized a little bit too late that like these were not, like it wasn't like as above board as he was expecting it to be.
Yeah, I think that's correct. I don't know. When he did have that realization, I think it was too far gone for him at that point. I think he kind of realized, this is my speculation, but I think he kind of realized how difficult it was going to be to get out of it, and that might not happen.
So we have this like whole situation with Cliff, and then that's when John jumps in, right? Like John comes in, and John is like, that was the one thing that I feel like could have been explained a little bit more, is that he has like this like crazy weird like dedication to Bridget.
Yeah.
And I almost wonder, and we'll get into that a little bit later, but no, okay, I'll save that for later. But like he's still got this like major love for Cliff, and that's why he's helping him. So that's how he gets all this information, right?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
I wish we had known more about like their involvement with each other. I mean, we get a little bit of it, but that was just something that I kind of wanted to hear more about.
Who you're talking about?
John and Cliff.
Yeah.
Like
well,
their history together. Like
so it's kind of outlined in some of the interviews and some of the emails or the mail.
Yeah, and I
yeah, I don't think I mean like that's a point
I've stated it before, so I'm not going to beat that horse again. But
yeah, I don't even think we need to talk about how frustrated we are about that. But
yeah.
A lot. I think it's safe to assume that if there's some type of thing that we're not clear about, it's probably explained in the emails.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to shoot straight with you guys. Once we finished playing Death Stranding, I have not picked it back up.
Yeah.
That's
not gone back.
That's correct for me too. I've not picked it up, and I probably won't for a good while.
No. I'll revisit it one of these days, but for now, I'm going to leave with my sanity intact.
I'll play the inevitable remastered PlayStation 5 edition of it.
I don't know if I can join you in that journey, brother.
Yeah.
Sorry, brother.
Sorry, I almost got on a rant there, so.
No, it's okay. Yeah, I guess so. All the stuff with John, and so then he makes this like wild escape, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or tries
attempts,
to, at least.
Yeah.
There was an attempt.
Yeah. So in the case review, it continues that on the day of the incident, Captain Unger took an experiment. Let's start over. On the day of the incident, Captain Unger took an experimental BB hostage and barricaded himself inside one of the facility's rooms. After
took his kid.
Well, this is not written. This is not meant to be an objective source of truth. This was written by the UCA.
Yeah.
So, but it says after assessing the situation, the president ordered that a nonviolent resolution be pursued, ensuring that no harm came to either the captain or the BB. However, this order was directly contravened by presidential advisor John Blake McClane, who shot and killed Clifford Unger. Following the incident, McClane refused to surrender himself into custody and fled, and was accordingly designated a most wanted fugitive. Efforts to locate and detain McClane were unsuccessful. However, the search was later called off when an unrelated investigation into a suicide found that the deceased possessed the same social security number as McClane. The body was cremated before physical identification could be performed.
Interesting. Is this motherfucker's name? Wait.
The same thing. I think we're about to say.
Is this motherfucker's name John McClane?
Yeah, Die-Hardman's name.
I quit the podcast. I'm
John
done.
Blake McClane.
No,
you guys didn't know that?
No, I'm fucking done. No.
That's his real name.
No.
I thought. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. That's it.
That's fucking over. I know last week I said all those fun things about how I'm so proud to continue the podcast, and I can't do it anymore.
I feel like we have a connection or something. Sam, roll the end credits. Let's go. I'm done with this. Oh my god, his name's John Mc... That's why he's Die-Hardman.
Yeah. That's it, baby.
I can hear my heart in my temples right now. Oh, Kojima.
Yeah. Kojima does some ham-fisted stuff. Right?
I wish that, like, I wish that I wish that we were done talking about Cliff so we could talk about Die-Hardman.
Yeah.
But, so let's finish talking about Cliff, and then we're going to talk about immediately Die-Hardman.
Yeah. Yeah. So, that's the story of Cliff. Like, the narrative is, he tried to escape with his child, BB, and, was killed by, well, in this narrative, John McClane.
I'm so surprised there wasn't like another character named like Hansman or Gruberman who just played exactly like the opposite of Die-Hardman.
Yeah.
Now I have a BB. Ho.
No. So he's quote killed, but then we know the truth of it is that he was killed, like it was Bridget, right? And so And then we get this whole like part. Now, how do we play this next part? Because like he's dying and he's giving that speech to Sam, right? What's happening there? Like how is like he's having this flashback. Sam is having the flashback, experiencing this, and is Cliff talking to him? Like what's happening in that moment?
And when you plug into the BB.
Yeah, and Sam's like floating around the hospital, and he sees like that whole thing happen, and then that's when it's revealed that is son. That is a son.
Yeah. That's a good question, bud.
Because like it's not like a normal flashback because like Cliff had this conversation with him in Vietnam, the exact same conversation he has at the end of the game with him, right? But like what is happening in this flashback that Sam is having that is causing this conversation to happen in the flashback? Like what like how?
So I think it's what it is that the interaction of the fact that Sam has dooms and he is plugging into a BB because I think it's said at one point in the game that when Die-Hardman gives Sam the BB that they had to make some special adjustments because they didn't know what would happen when a person with dooms plugs into a BB, because people with dooms have the natural connection to the BTs, right? To the beaches. And BBs are like between the beaches and real life. So it's like kind of crossing the wires.
Yeah.
So when Sam is plugging into BB, he's remembering the time when he was that bridge between the living and the dead.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
I can see that. I kind of assumed to an extent that there was like a pocket dimension type thing going on there, like in that instance, just because everything in this universe is all mixed up. Like maybe in that moment they were able to have that kind of conversation, but
yeah.
It was just very strange. I could see that being correct though.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah. So then Cliff comes back as a spirit of fucking vengeance. Right?
Yeah.
And so he's hunting for Sam. He's hunting for his BB. Now I don't know at first. So at what point do we think Cliff recognizes that Sam is his son?
Definitely not in World War One.
Yeah.
No. I think it started happening in World War II because he had that moment before he started to like choke him that like he had that like brief moment of recognition and then he went crazy again. I think that's when it started. And obviously Vietnam was the moment.
I wonder if it's because he touched him.
Maybe
he made that connection and then realized, oh shit, it's not the BB on his chest. I'm getting a weird vibe from this scruffy boy here.
Yeah.
Because he's recognizing, he's sensing Sam this entire time. That's why he's able to like follow him around.
Yes.
He's sensing Sam, but because of like what he's looking for, he thinks he's looking for the BB when he's really looking for Sam. And it's that connection that really does it.
Yeah. I think that's the case. Like something about isn't it something to do with chiral energy or something like that he's able to track Sam?
Yeah, I think so. Well, because we were led to believe that it was like it was like connecting to the Odra deck, right, and plugging BB in that caused the like him able to like figure out where he is. But I think that was just a red herring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so in all of this, so we have these various theories in all of this about like Higgs is in charge of this, or Cliff is in charge of this, or like the. So how do we like where do we feel about the idea of like how Cliff came back and like who was like was he independent? Like was he working with Bridget? Was that clear to everybody?
That Cliff was working with Bridget.
Yeah.
I think it was pretty clear that he was cooperating initially because through the conversations there was kind of this like bargaining going on, you know.
So we get through all of these scenarios, right? And then because it happens so my question then, and I think another thing that I wasn't completely clear about is then we go through, we see these supercells, we see him in World War I, World War II, Vietnam. We have that moment in Vietnam where like he transforms into like suit wearing Cliff again. And then we play the game a little bit more and we get back to the beach and he's like evil Cliff again with his little skelly man.
Yeah.
Right. So what happened there, do we think? Do you think like it was Bridget or?
I think that what happened there was that Sam recognized Bridget and what she was, you know, which, these kinds of character analysis are hard because you start talking about one character and then you have to talk about
bounce
or another character.
Because they're so,
yeah.
Well, like that's the thing about the game too, is that like most of like the key characters are so intertwined that it's hard not to.
Yeah, for sure. It's but I think it's good, you know. I think that's what happened is Cliff recognized Bridget and recognized what she was and reacted to the situation as he would have, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So you have this moment and you're kind of like given the story later about how like Cliff kind of just let everybody go on that beach, and we're not entirely sure why specifically. Like we can infer from Die-Hardman's like his like soliloquy, you know, at the end of the game, but we're never really sure why he does it. And then you briefly see him kind of like sinking with you when Sam is in the water on the beach, and that's kind of like the end of it until the flashback stuff.
Yeah.
So,
I think it doesn't really, it's not really clear what happened, but I think what ended up happening is Cliff and Die-Hardman forgave each other.
Yeah, I think that'd be fair to assume.
And that's what I think. And I think that's what Die-Hardman was saying too in his speech, right? Is that like maybe he saw how hard I was trying now and forgave me in that moment. And that's why he was just like, okay, this is fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's correct. Because Cliff had been changed. Cliff, if that situation had happened before the moment between Sam and Cliff, I don't think he would have let them go. I think he would have punished them and had his revenge, right?
Yeah.
But I think that the exchange with Sam changed Cliff, and he got what he wanted, and he kind of realized what he had become in the process of like looking for his son.
Mm-hmm. And so yeah. And I guess does that kind of like close? I mean, will that I guess close the book on Cliff for us, or what do you think? Anything else we need to be?
Yeah, I think that. I mean, there's a lot to say about Cliff, and there's a lot that we could say, but in the relationship of the story, I don't know. I will say it does feel a little hollow, like his impacts towards the end. Like you have this moment with him, and then the game chooses to continue with other stuff. And I felt like the story could have been more keenly focused on Cliff and Sam's relationship and been a little more coherent.
I think a lot of this game could have been a lot more coherent, personally.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's true. But I think this is a small change that could have happened that would have made a big difference.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Can we talk about fucking John McClane?
Apparently, we have to because
and by talk, I mean make disappointed noises and just kind of breathe heavily.
That ruined my night, dude. Oh, God.
That ruined my fucking night, Dad.
I think
John McClane, Die-Hardman. Fuck.
You know, I was wondering why you guys didn't ask Tommy Jenkins why he had the what his reaction was to finding out that the name is John McClane.
I don't know. I wonder if he even knows. I should. You know what? Hold on. I'm live messaging Tommy right now. Hold on. DMs. Hold on. Cancel. Where is he? TJ84 Tommy Earl Jenkins.
The man. The myth,
man.
The legend.
Okay, hold on. Hey, Tommy. So we're recording. Hold on. Recording a little extra analysis on Death Stranding for Metal Gear Mondays right now. Wow, it just EAR. Come on, spell. Mondays right now. Now, and Christmas. Nope.
Yes, Christmas Hampton.
Christmas Hampton. It's short. Chris is short for Christmas. Yep. Chris brought to my attention that Die-Hardman's real name is John McClane, and I don't think I realized this. I was wondering if you knew that little tidbit, because I think it's kind of hilarious.
All right.
There. Hey, Tommy, so we're recording a little extra analysis on Death Stranding from Metal Gear Mondays right now, and Chris brought to my attention that Die-Hardman's real name is John McClane, and I don't think I realized this. I was wondering if you knew that little tidbit, because I think it's kind of hilarious. Okay, I just sent that to Tommy. If he responds during the episode, I will chime in and let you guys know.
I just realized that I will also get that DM if he calls back, so that's going to be a fun thing if I wake up tomorrow morning with a DM from Tommy Earl Jenkins.
Hopefully we hear from Die-Hardman. This would be the one time that Sam's not upset to hear that ringtone.
Yeah, but it's like the ringtone plays. Fuck. So many times. So many times.
So again, so I need somebody. I can't. Chris, I need you to start talking about Die-Hardman, because I need to take a second right now. I need to take a powder.
Okay. Pitter patter.
Pitter patter. Let's get at her.
Pata pata. So, yeah. Die-Hardman. Where do we start? So Die-Hardman was John McClane. He served under Cliff, and Cliff apparently had saved his life multiple times, from what we gather, right?
Yeah, because he mentions as much that, like, you brought us back from the brink of death every single time.
Yeah. So yeah, so John McClane is like a presidential advisor, but he's also like in charge of.
Stop calling him John McClane.
That's his name, Sam.
Stop calling him John McClane.
You know what? Yeah,
That's his name.
They really missed the chance to make a yippee-ki-yay motherfucker like moment in that game. If that had happened, I would have been like, wait a minute. Well,
yeah. We almost got it.
Wait, you almost what?
We almost got it. I felt there were a couple times where I thought we were.
Oh yeah. I think so.
Yeah, I think Kojima was a little tasteful in his reference.
So he could do Mario and Princess Beach, but he can't have Die-Hardman on the beach.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Yeah, no, that would have. Well,
that would have completely ruined the mood.
So, I mean, not to get too off topic here, but it's one of the things that people speculate why Police was never released in the U.S. because the copyright infringement would be associated with Lethal Weapon, right? Because the main characters resemble the characters in Lethal Weapon by a lot.
Right.
So this is not the first time that Kojima has made a reference to an 80s film.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I will say I do think it is different to like name him John McClane and then have him say than it is to have him say the line, because the line is going to be what gets him in trouble.
Yeah,
that's very true. So I don't know. Take what you will from it, but I'll refer to him as Die-Hardman so that we can get through this.
Please, because like if you say John McClane one more fucking time, I'm going to lose it. Not in anger, but like I'm just going to keep laughing.
Bruce Willis in a mask.
I love Tommy, and I don't think I could see anybody else playing Die-Hardman at this point. But do you think that Kojima wanted Bruce Willis?
I don't know.
Could you imagine?
Yeah, I could. I think he wanted Norman.
I bet he pitched it to him and he's like, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
Yeah. So
Die-Hardman.
Continuing from Clifford Unger's case review, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's it goes on to say that like they found that body and body was like identified to be John McClane's, and then like a couple weeks later this guy with a mask shows up and he's the new presidential advisor after the president assumed control of Bridges.
Mm-hmm.
And he is known only as Die-Hardman. So I guess like why the reason why we are given that Die-Hardman never uses his real name is because he faked his own death.
Yeah,
he's supposed to be dead.
Yeah.
Fuck. Yeah, he faked his own death because he was going to get in trouble for, quote, killing Cliff.
Yeah.
Even though he didn't kill Cliff, because he was taking the fall. And so he faked his own death to come back and advise Bridget still. Just with a mask.
Yeah.
And there's this like phony story about funny story about like all these burns and like things like that to like maybe relieve some suspicion, but
not a lot of suspicion.
He is very, very, from the word go, that man is the most like one of the most suspicious characters in the game.
Oh yeah.
I also like want to say there was never any doubt in my mind that the person that we saw in those flashbacks was Die-Hardman.
Oh no, it was
no.
super obvious. It was super obvious. I had a talk. I can't remember who I was talking to Zach, and Zach was at this point in the game. Zach was a little bit ahead of me, and so the first flashback that we get with John in it, I text him. I was like, "Hey, you don't have to tell me,
yeah,
but John is definitely Die-Hardman, right?" And Zach like didn't say anything. But like
Yeah.
it's super. I think it's super clear. Like they don't try to hide it at all.
No.
Yeah.
For sure not.
So, yeah, Die-Hardman faked his death, came back and worked for Bridges, for President Strand, and it's kind of like, I mean, he's very shady, and we don't trust him from the beginning, and it's very obvious that there's a history between him and Sam from the outset of their interaction, right?
Yeah, he's dodgy the entire game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So here's what I was going to bring up earlier that I was going to say for now is that when we were talking about Cliff is that Die-Hardman has this like crazy, he has this like weird loyalty to Bridget, and like he makes very specific mentions of like, I have to do what she says. I have to listen to her. Is there some like mind control shit happening here? Like, what is that? Like, what is that? Like, is it just like he loves her? Like, what is the deal?
Someone can correct me if I'm wrong here, but I kind of, after, hearing the whole, like, he faked his own death kind of thing, part of me wants to think that it's like a blackmail type situation going on, that Bridget has something over him. Like, hey, the country thinks that you are a murderer and that you disobeyed a direct order from me, so I've got you in my pocket, dance, essentially.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. I could see that.
Yeah.
I don't know why I never got that read off of it. I don't know. Like what does it say about me that my first thought was like, oh, he's brainwashed, like he's mind control.
Well, I mean, the whole game is just wacky, and so it's completely understandable that, oh yeah, no, I could totally see someone being like hypnotized with chiral dooms. I don't know. Like, you can come up with an explanation using like the universe's kind of metaphysical aspects for that, but I just kind of assumed like Occam's razor, like, oh no, he's just in the pocket of a very corrupt politician.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all this stuff happens. We talked a little bit about how much we really liked his like performance and the whole like speech at the end of chapter episode 13, right? I did want to bring something up because it came up in the Discord and I wanted to get everybody's thoughts on it. Was Matt's What She Said in the Discord tagged us in a comment in our Death Stranding spoiler talk chain in there. And you can check it out by going to or patreon.com/MetalGearMondays. He says, I guess I'm in the minority here, but I thought the big Die-Hardman scene at the end was awkward and underwhelming. I agree the performance and motion captures was good, but what he was saying was dumb. Like, sorry, I killed your dad, but I didn't have a choice. Yeah, you did. Cliff should have healed me because I deserved it. Yeah, you do. But I think you forgave me because I was doing my part for America. Come on, man. Dude, you killed the guy who saved your life multiple times. Not only that, but you killed a good character, and your character is ranked just above the chiral artist and Jordan Vogt Roberts. You're not going to get me to care about you in episode 13. I'm sorry, but that's just how I feel about it. So I think the first thing about that, and you guys can, pull me back if I'm, saying anything wrong, but
sure.
I think the first thing that makes that a little iffy is that like he wasn't the one that killed Cliff. It was Bridget.
No, Bridget definitely was the one who
right.
shot him. She grabbed the gun while it was in his hand and pulled the trigger.
And so he feels that guilt because that happened, but it's not necessarily his like.
No, he's got. It's textbook survivor's guilt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
sure.
That's exactly what it is. He feels like had he done something different, Cliff would still be here, or if he had acted a little sooner, he'd still be there. He's constantly dealing with those what ifs in his head. And I mean, he's scarred because of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I get the sense that part of like the story of like what do you call it? Cliff and McLean or Die-Hardman, they have this. I know. So yeah, Cliff and Die-Hardman have this relationship, and part of what makes Die-Hardman more real as a character is how he like. Well, once you understand the relationship, which is that I guess that Sam is Cliff's son, and then you understand that Die-Hardman has been like a little overbearing with Sam, but he always like seems to have Sam's best interests in mind. I think you understand like that little survivor's guilt that he has.
Yeah.
And he's like kind of looking after Sam to pay sort of penance, like looking after his friends, his dead friend's kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like my 2 cents.
Yeah. No, I see
for
that.
what they're worth.
I think the what I will agree with is I think the he saw what I was doing for America was a little ham-fisted.
Yeah.
But I think the bulk of the speech was pretty solid.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I think that's true.
Yeah. So I still stand the speech. Definitely, regardless, still stand the performance.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's the best acting in the entire game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super fantastic. And like that moment, I think is only topped by the Cliff and Sam moment for me in story.
Yeah. So, next character, boys.
Yeah, who's next?
Who is next? So we've talked about Sam. We've talked about Cliff. Dead Man. Die-Hardman.
You mean John McClane?
No, I don't. I mean Die-Hardman. What about? Let's talk about Higgs.
Yeah, Higgs boy.
I've had a lot of time to think about Higgs. And I think that Higgs is both a great villain and a missed opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep, I can completely get behind that.
I think that, and it's kind of like Skullface, right? Where Skullface is a great villain, but he's just utilized poorly.
Yeah.
And I think that Higgs is a great character. He's a cool character, and I think if they just utilized him like more, or gave like more motivation or background or anything like that, I think it would have been a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have to ask, did you guys read the journals?
So okay, so
Wild stab at it for me.
I want to take this moment to thank everybody for all of the messages and all of the tweets and pings and everything about this. Yes, super aware that Peter Engler is Higgs, and I'm super aware of his special room. I don't mean that with any disdain at all. I have no disdain in my heart for you guys. I just I was shocked by the amount of people that emailed or wrote in or anything like that asking, "Oh, did you guys know that Peter Engler?" I was like, yeah, I did.
But to pour over this game for a whole long time, I've got that. Thank you.
Oh yeah.
No, I really like Higgs. I really like Higgs, though. But I completely agree that he was just an underutilized character in this game. I just, he's just such a...
Yeah.
It's hard to describe.
His so his background is really interesting, I think. He was raised by his uncle, and this was pretty early in his life that both of his parents died.
Mhm.
And he grew up thinking that the shelter that he lived in was like the entire world, and his uncle would like beat him physically whenever he asked about the outside world or tried to leave the shelter. So eventually, Higgs kills his uncle in self-defense with a knife, and he witnesses the body going necro. And in like one of the journals, where's that line? Sorry, yeah. So he's like dragging the body along, and it says, "I've been moving at a steady clip when I saw it. Chiralium coating off at Daddy, little motes of shimmering light. I was out of time. I laid him down in the dirt, but before I let go, I had a vision. My hand, still resting on his body, disappeared, vaporized into fine mist. Poof. And then I felt another presence, a BT, coming slow but sure, like I had been, like it had been walking since the beginning of time. Daddy's keeper. That was the first one I sensed, but it wasn't the last. For a long time after, I remained awakened to their presence, a sixth sense, Daddy's parting gift to me. Over time, it'd fade, but I knew how I got it, and I knew how to get it back. All I needed was another body, and I got real good at making them. Death for life, theirs for mine. A fair exchange." So for Higgs to trigger his like Doom's abilities, he has to kill people.
Yeah. That's twisted.
It's super twisted, but God, it makes for a good villain.
Yeah. It just, if they had said something about it in the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Like these details are so awesome. Why aren't they more obvious in the game? Why do we have to really like dig for them?
Yeah. Like how cool would that have been to like just have that moment? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
To see like Kid Higgs dragging his uncle's dead body.
And then realizing in the moment like, oh shit, I've got something here.
Yeah. And then like showing flashes of Higgs learning that his abilities are triggered by death and like murdering people. And then like suddenly this villain is like by your final encounter, this mass murdering psychopath, right?
Yeah.
It's not just something that like we saw in like what I thought was honestly a pretty lame scenario with Fragile and Higgs. I don't know. It just didn't feel dangerous,
Yeah.
No.
And I also stand by the fact that like if Higgs was like haunting you throughout the game, how cool would that have been?
Oh, that
like
would
if he was like
cool.
he was like the G-Man, he would just like appear at the top of a cliff somewhere. Or like if you were like climbing up a cliff with like the anchor and you look up and he's up there and then you get to the top and he's gone. Like, wow, fucking cool would that be?
Yeah.
Yeah. Then like it would have been like Liquid and the pursuit of Liquid.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it would have been so much cooler. And so much cooler. He was just like you said, he's extremely underutilized because he has such an amazing story that we don't know about unless you read the emails, which once again, spoiler alert, I didn't. So
Yeah. I'll be honest with you. I found like a website that has all of them typed out.
Yeah.
Because I just wanted to read them. I didn't want to sit in my PlayStation.
I'll say I'll probably go through it if you'll send me that link at some point.
Yeah, and then we'll also if you send the link to Chris, we can include it in the show notes as well.
Yeah, for sure. I actually posted it in the Discord earlier.
Oh, look at you!
Yeah,
Perfect.
Looking out for the community.
Yeah,
that's what I do.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that Higgs is such an interesting character. I just wish he was utilized better, and like. like, I don't know. Like, he felt so final boss. Like, he felt like the final boss. And
Yeah.
the fact that, like, he wasn't, and there was so much more game after, like, you finally take him down was just such a weird feeling to me. Because it kind of flipped it. The game flipped that whole, like, final boss trope on its head in a way that I'm not sure I'm a fan of. Because I'm all for, like, the idea of, like, having non-traditional endings to games where, like, the final encounter isn't quite what you expected. But I don't know. It just felt weird to me. And it also felt weird, like, the last, like, true combat gameplay section of the game was the whale. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest. I sort of feel like every time that trope is used, like, the boss isn't really the boss. It kind of falls flat. The big experience I think about is Final Fantasy IX, right?
Yeah.
Because they pull the rug out from under you there, and you're like, "Oh, who's this guy?" Not in the story at all. And it's a little bit different because, like, it is someone in the story, but you know, Higgs could have been like this maniacal villain, and we really didn't need the BT to be the extinction entity to be the big bad, right?
Yeah.
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 Like, it could have been Higgs, and things would have been fine.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
No. I just think it was wasted. It was a little bit of wasted potential. Because, like,
That was completely wasted potential.
But, and so me and Alessio definitely do agree on that part, because Alessio kind of talked about it in that Tuesday bonus episode as well. What we don't agree on is that fucking boss battle. That last battle in the water with the punches is fucking dope, and I don't care what the fuck anybody says about it. It was awesome.
No, it was awesome.
it's a fantastic story.
It was just fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was totally like a riff off of the Ocelot fight. Right?
Oh no, 100%.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But the Ocelot fight was fucking awesome too. So I mean,
Yeah, it was. I mean, this definitely had less impact because it wasn't Ocelot; it was Higgs. But you know, Higgs has this like magnetism to him as a character that others they don't, and I think it is because there's a little bit of mystery around him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. I just think he's cool. I think he's a very cool character. I think I remember in my, like, waning moments, like when I was feeling just really extra tired in the beginnings of the games during chapter 3, the moment that pulled me back into, like, figuring out was seeing him appear as the package of the bridges guy giving Sam the package, and, like, immediately clocking it was Higgs, and just being like, oh fuck.
Oh,
and
dude,
like,
what do I gotta do now?
Yeah, and so, like, I was just like, oh god, and so you know something's wrong immediately. Imagine if there was more stuff like that, because that was such a cool, unique thing that they did with him, like, disguised as something else and things like that. They needed to do more of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
That was such a cool moment in the game.
I mean, there's a reason why the only patch I have from Death Stranding is the Void Out patch. Because he's like my favorite character in this game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does that say about me?
I don't know. That I think you like shiny things.
I do like shiny things. I do like shiny things.
So yeah, so that's Higgs. I think we're all in agreement there that I think he could have been utilized a lot more and a lot more effectively.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But, lost causes, that sort of thing.
Who else? Shall we talk about Miss I Brought You a Metaphor?
Oh, Fragile,
or should we talk about Heartman?
I guess Fragile is, like, if you kind of want to lead into it.
With coming off of Higgs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a direct connection there. So yeah, let's talk about Fragile.
We leave Higgs off with a metaphor, I guess, and Fragile, where it's presumed that Higgs has committed suicide.
Yeah.
I think that's the heavy implication.
Yeah, I remember we talked about this in another episode. That didn't click for me initially.
Same,
but it makes sense.
I also hate killing characters off screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you?
Yes.
I wish it happened more often because I feel like we're like Game of Thrones out at this point.
I mean, I don't need like some Game of Thrones like watching someone get their like neck slit, but like that kind of finality. Is nice to have, and I don't know.
Yeah, I think I'm just tired of like seeing main characters die for shock value.
Yeah, exactly. I don't need it. I don't need it played up for shock value, like. But that kind of unceremonious send off, I'm not a fan of.
Sure.
Like, oh yeah,
especially for what it's supposed to be, an important character, right?
Exactly. It's like, oh no, like, I brought you a metaphor and I brought him a gun. He's dead. Like, great, Fragile. Thanks.
Good job. Get a cookie.
Yeah, here's a cryptobiote.
So, yeah, Fragile. Fragile is actually the first character in the game you encounter.
Yeah.
She kind of just pops in.
Yeah. And so at this point, so Sam and Fragile have this, they know each other.
Yeah.
From like just work, just like business, right?
Yeah. She's also the one that kind of like brings up the fact that we have dooms, and that her levels are much higher than Sam's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So through her, we have that kind of, I don't know, introduction of like one of the main mechanics in the game.
Yeah. So we know like Fragile is what she goes by, and her father was the founder of Fragile Express. So when he died, she became in charge of the company, and she merged with Higgs' delivery company, drawn by his vision of the future, which we know now that Higgs was under the influence of Amelie, so he was double agent. So I this is what I'm when I said earlier that Kojima gives us enough information to make his point, but not to color it in. But like, we don't know Fragile's like real name or whole name. We don't know Fragile's father's name, and we don't really know much else about her. Like, even through emails and interviews and stuff, there's not a whole lot of details into her background.
If we're going by like the general Kojima naming, her name's probably like Silica Glass. I don't know. Like,
Silica Glass.
Yeah.
And
it's a tie-in.
Porcelain. I don't know.
Yeah, like, Silica Glass is the tie-in to the Unbreakable universe.
Yeah.
Wow. So her extinction factor is so much that she can just outright see BTs.
Yeah.
And she doesn't need to use a baby, and she can teleport. So she shares that power with Higgs, the only other character that has teleportation.
Yep.
So she had this moment where we learned that Higgs was a terrorist. And
they were partners first.
Yeah, they were partners first, and then Higgs used Fragile to sneak a bomb into South Knot City. Or Middle Knot City, excuse me. So a lot of people kind of blamed Fragile, and there was going to be a second attack on South Knot City. But Fragile stopped it. at the cost of her own body.
Yeah.
Which I thought this was a very, very weird thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially now knowing what we know about Higgs, like he gets his power from,
killing
death.
People.
Yeah.
So why give the option here?
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess he's like, what he's trying to do is amp up his own power to accelerate Amale's end goal, which is to bring about the Death Stranding.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And so this is another person that's being like manipulated by Bridget and Amelie, right? So
yes.
So it makes sense in a way. It makes sense in a way that he's not like the final boss, but it's still weird. But we're talking about Fragile, so never mind.
Yeah. So Fragile survives this situation, and we have chapter 3 that's dedicated to her, which I think is one of the best chapters in the game. I thought that her story was really touching and one of the more motivating in the story.
Yeah, I think so. I thought that like it. I thought that the journey that Sam and Fragile were taking throughout the game could have been as good, if not better, than the journey that Sam and Deadman took throughout the game. And I feel like they kind of squandered it right there at the end with what he did and how he reacted to her. Am I off on that? Does that feel?
I think could you?
Well, so
maybe...
I don't even know if it was even romantic at all, or if it didn't have to be romantic, but they started to build trust with each other, especially after the bomb and how she told him that story and things like that. And then at the very end, when he was walking away, he just Sam, who was perceived to have grown, more, just reverts to this behavior from the beginning of the game and leaves her behind crying. And I feel like that was not a great thing.
Yeah. Well, I want to say that what Kojima was trying to do was subvert expectations with that.
Yeah.
And he didn't want it to become like a love story, because he did have that line in there about Mario and Princess Peach, and it was kind of like poking commentary at the hero saves the damsel and whatever.
Sure.
And it's established pretty early on that Fragile is probably more capable of anything than Sam is.
Mm-hmm.
The only, from what I took away from the chapter 3, where you're sitting on the edge of that tar lake with Fragile, and she tells you the story, and she's like, "This is why, people don't trust me anymore. I'm such a controversial figure, but you're not. You unite people, and that's what we need is someone who can unite us all, Sam."
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
I could see that, I guess. I just don't know. I think I'm gonna bring up Game of Thrones here for a second. So if you guys are,
dun, 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 dun.
Yeah. So I don't know, if you guys care or not, but about spoilers for the final season. But it kind of reminds me a little bit of the journey that Jaime Lannister took in a way, and this is a very, very extreme way of comparing, because it's not a very similar situation, but the cycle it works, because Jaime as a character grew so much during the course of the show, and then by the time the show ends, he is right back where he started, and that's kind of how the relationship between Sam and Fragile felt, and I find that to be unsatisfying personally.
I can feel that, especially within that context, because I was a big Jaime Lannister stan the entire time.
Mm-hmm. Like it's one of those things where like I can understand why they did what they did, but it just doesn't feel fulfilling.
Yeah, you've given this character so much growth, only to just kind of dash it at the very end.
Yeah. So there's a lot of unfulfilling things about Death Stranding. I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah.
It's kind of. I think it's designed to be that way, and to show us that like the progress that Sam has made is that he feels like he no longer needs to do things for other people, but he has found his own reason. Lou.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of our story to carry on and live his life.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I think if Fragile, if there had been a relationship between him and Fragile, I think it would have like kind of tainted and taken away from that.
Yeah. I guess. I don't know. It just, I think this is again, this kind of goes back to like our discussion about like that, the exposition like thing in the end of the game that I didn't like was like, I see it for what it is and I understand why it was done. I just don't like it.
Right.
But, you know, it is what it is, I suppose.
Yeah.
Were there any interesting tidbits in the emails about Fragile that we don't, that we might like to know, Christopher? Mr. Christmas?
Well, the one thing that I got was that, Fragile does the keeps the time fall away.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the crypto biotes, they're able to travel between Earth and the beach.
Yeah.
And the reason why Fragile eats so many of them is that she needs them to keep her like aged body alive.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like kind of stalling time out on aging her body.
Yeah. That's interesting. Because they there was another email that I do remember reading about like cryptobiotes like just showing up after the Death Stranding, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
they were never seen before the Death Stranding.
Right. So they're just like little like water bug things that just showed up and apparently reverse or like hold back the effects of timefall. So.
Yeah. Fun fact about the cryptobiotes. Cryptobiosis is a metabolic state of life entered by an organism in response to adverse environmental conditions such as dissection, freezing, and oxygen deficiency. So in a cryptobiotic state, all measurable metabolic processes stop, preventing reproduction, development, and repair.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So that's clearly tied to the cryptobiote.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And it's like, I don't know, just Kojima science for if Fragile eats these, she will stop her aging body from aging more.
Yeah. Makes sense. Makes sense to me.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So who's next on our fabulous frolic?
So
we want to talk about the 2 and 1.
Ooh, are you talking about Mama Lochna?
Okay, so the other 2 and 1, yeah.
Well, so I think because what I want to do is because I think you're thinking about Bridget and Amelie,
yes,
right? Let's end with them,
okay?
Because we've got Mama and Lochna, and then we've got Hartman. So let's do Mama and Lochna, and then Hartman, and then we'll end with Bridget and Amelie.
Okay, sounds good to me.
You mean you guys don't want to talk about the Elder?
Fuck the Elder, dude. I'm glad he's dead.
I'm not doing this right now. I ain't doing this
right now.
He's dead.
I'm glad that old motherfucker's dead. Get him out of here. Get him out of my face. Get him out of my face.
Same here. At me. I don't care. I am Cold Duncan on Twitter. Give me your hot takes about the Elder.
Actually, you know what? No. You know who you should send your hot takes to about the Elder? at author Zach James.
Yeah, for sure. Because he loves the Elder, actually.
Send all your hot takes, every single hot take you have. Not even just about the Elder, about like life.
Yeah.
Just everything.
Yeah.
Just send it to author Zach James on Twitter.
Yeah. You should also just spam him with narc on Twitter.
Yeah.
Hashtag narc.
Send him pictures of the gray monkey from Metal Gear Solid 4 drinking that can of narc soda.
Yes, please do. Please do.
It's his favorite meme, and he'll love it.
So definitely do that. But yeah, let's talk about Mama and Lochna a little bit here. Mama, I thought up until her chapter was, I didn't think they did a lot to make us care about her, but within her chapter, I think they did a great job of making us care about her and what happens to her later. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, it's one of the few instances where the character is like slightly underutilized, but like they dedicate like a huge chunk of time to making us care about them. And I think it's done well.
Yeah, I think it's done tastefully.
I can agree with that. Yeah.
Aside from that whole water scene, it was a little weird. But
where she's under the rubble?
Yeah.
Yeah. The facial capture on that is kind of terrifying.
Yeah, it was really, really. I mean, it was really good. I hate saying
it
because you can't get that kind of like level of emotion otherwise.
Oh, hey, time out, really quick. I'm sorry, Tommy Earl Jenkins.
No
it
shit.
It is indeed John Blake McClane. Winky emoji.
Oh yeah, so he knows.
Oh, that's great.
I sent him back and said it was actually kind of incredible. So Tommy knows. Anyway,
Tommy's a team player.
Yeah, he is.
Shouts out to Tommy. Go follow him on Twitter.
Yeah, please go follow Tommy on Twitter. It's TJTEEJAYE 84. Please follow him. He's so cool and he tweets all the time and he's very responsive. So please tweet him and follow him. But yeah, so the facial capture on it was very good, but I think if we're comparing the motion capture and the facial capture of that scene to, speaking of Tommy again, that scene at the end, I felt very like uncanny valley disturbed by Mama in that particular instance, but not by Tommy. Like, I'm not sure why or like what they did in between those 2 points, but like Tommy's, like, I knew it was a video game, but it just looked fucking phenomenal. Whereas Mama just, they were trying to be like way too real with it. And it was just weird.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's the case.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the story behind that scene is very powerful, and very sad.
Yeah.
It pulled me into caring about her immediately, like hearing like what actually happened and why she's tethered to this BT and everything like that.
Yeah. So the one thing I thought about that was really weird in doing my research for this is here's some notes about Mama. So Maligna and Lochna are the names of 2 impact craters in Sweden.
Oh yeah, we talked about this in the coverage episode too.
Yeah, we did. This is the weird one. Mama lactates despite her beached daughter being unable to drink the produced milk.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, I guess that's like, in a way, Kojima talking about the experience of being a mother and losing your child.
Mm-hmm. It's
I'd never seen in a video game before.
Yeah, and I think they cover it very well too.
Yeah,
Like it doesn't feel like it's treated like that situation, rightfully so, is treated with respect. I think
that's true. It's tasteful and it's not overproduced. And I think that the handling of that sensitive material leaves you coming away from it feeling like you understand someone who's gone through that situation more, and not that it was done for like a shock factor.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the point of this whole game. It's just to like understand other perspectives.
Yeah. Which I do agree with, and I do enjoy, because I think they do, for the most part, a good job of that theme throughout the game. It's like that idea of like understanding like other walks of life and lives and perspectives. Like even the Elder. Like we joke about the Elder, but like that's kind of how people like that are sometimes. Like it, like there's like, all the preppers and stuff like that. Like some of these people are like dicks, yeah, but like how would you be in this kind of world? You know what I mean?
Not bitching at the guy who's bringing me life-saving shit, probably.
I mean, if you
throwing that out there,
you might if you were old as fuck and like a boomer.
Nah,
you're old and don't care anymore.
Nah,
that's a possibility.
I haven't spoken to almost anyone in a long ass time, and then someone's bringing me some stuff that I really need. The first thing out of my mouth is gonna be like, "Dude, thank you."
Well, you must be nice.
Yeah,
you must be some kind of a nice
fucking
guy.
Elder.
But you agree with me though, Cole, right? Is that like you agree with me that like even so, like it's like the preppers and the characters of the game are like a very big like microcosm of all these different like ways of life and behaviors and things like that.
No,
and
100%.
It makes sense, and in a way, it does make sense.
Yeah, I agree, but I'm just like,
and I think.
I understand that it's supposed to be like that, but at the same time, I'm like, man, you're really making me not like a lot of these people.
Yeah, and I think that's also probably the reaction. I think that's important to note that like that's probably the reaction they expected you to have too, and wanted you to have.
Sure.
Yeah. I don't know. Did anyone have a favorite prepper on the note of preppers?
the Conan O'Brien.
It was Conan. I can't pretend it's not.
Yeah. I don't know. I giggled every time Jeff Keighley popped on the screen.
That was pretty good. Yeah, Jeff Keighley.
Or Peter Engels. I mean, like that guy is just great. I just love him.
Yep. But yeah, but like again, so going back to it all, I think that this game did a good job of like portraying that grief in a tasteful way and showing like behind the life of that a person that might be dealing with that kind of thing. And so I enjoyed it for that. Mama's chapter was a really good chapter.
It was. Well, I mean, I think all of us complained except for me hearing the actual coverage, because it was kind of a pain to get Mama over the mountain.
I didn't have that hard of a time with it because I just went straight, unlike Zach, who took this giant odyssey.
Yeah. Well, so, and same with me. Like I'm not. So what I will say is that I'm not going to put. I was complaining, but I don't know that I put that on the game. I definitely put that on me because I did a bad thing.
Yeah.
Just did a bad thing. I regret the thing I did.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but I just like it's amazing to me how they basically introduced this character, gave this backstory, made me haul her across, whatever, and then killed her and made me care about it in that succinct amount of time. Like I say succinct, like obviously the gameplay to get her up was not succinct depending on who you are, but like with the story beats, like it was such a short compact period of time from getting her introduction to her death, and they make you care about it, despite the fact that that's all you've gotten with her.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, that's the kind of the impact of Mama. Is like she has this very strong, brief moment in the story that has a much deeper emotional impact than probably any character up to that point.
Yeah. So, and then you have Lochna, and Mama and Lochna is, I think, the closest thing, like, well, not closest thing. It's the first time in the game that you truly get that, like, weirdness that, like, is very signature Kojima, right? This, like, supernatural, like, connection between the two of them. Now they're one person in a body, and it's just very, like, woo, you know?
Okay, occasionally speak in, like, a royal we type situation.
Yeah, kind of like that. So, after that, like, you kind of don't get a lot from them again. You know what I mean? Like they're there, but you don't really get a lot like out of them.
They're more there for like, hey, here's a new toy. Let's tell you how to use it 3 times.
Yeah. Although I will always love them getting up to give Sam a hug when he shows up at the end of the game, and like him just like fucking Heismaning her like stiff arm. Nah. Like, it's so precious because like she's like, oh, she's so happy to see Sam, and then he's like, no.
He's like, nah, remember the whole like don't like being touched thing.
Yeah, it's just it was kind of funny. But it also like added to the end when he does give Deadman the hug, so I guess it's good.
Yeah. Where he's like, he's like, I'm making progress, but I'm not there yet.
I wonder if she ever got that hug.
I don't know.
No. How about Heartman?
He didn't get a hug.
He definitely didn't get a hug. He got a lot of thumbs up though.
Yeah, he did.
Sam scratched his record collection.
Ricky.
I was so angry at that.
Yeah. Actually, hold on a second. I had an interview. There's an interview from the game that was like, what became of Maligna and Lochna? So it reads, we had forgotten all about our dream of going to space. It was a dream from an earlier and simpler time. From before we realized our baby was a BT binding us to the other side, and before we had to sever the link between us. After that, Maligna couldn't even leave the lab, and Lochna swore to live a life of isolation in Mountain Knot City. There was no room in our heart for outer space. But now that we're one, it's all become so clear. In choosing isolation, choosing to forget about the outside world, we were just being human, just doing what everyone else was doing. We turned inwards, venturing deeper and deeper into ourselves, focusing on our inner worlds at the expense of the one we shared. Maybe this is why they mean... Maybe this is what they mean when they say that the beach is a reflection of the individual soul. We became trapped in the multiverse contained within, but at last we have the chance to escape. Now that America is whole, we can begin to expand our boundaries once more. The bonds we've forged carry us beyond these clouds. It's time we saw the stars again. So it kind of seems like Maligna and Lochna go back to their pursuit of like space travel,
exploration. Yeah,
which is cool.
Yeah, no, it's super super cool. Like, because I mean, I didn't even really put 2 and 2 together with that. You know, that they're both that both of them just one of them chose isolation while the other one was kind of forced into it due to her circumstances.
Yeah.
But now that they're able to actually, you know, they're whole again, it's really kind of
they're
cool.
They can legit
reaching
do it
out.
together.
Yeah. They have regained themselves.
Yeah. I guess they've regained a sense of self by being together.
Yeah. I think that's correct. There's also one that was for Fragile too, if you guys are interested in that.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like What Became of Fragile is the title of it. So it says, I've been thinking a lot about my father recently. I'd like to think he'd be happy if he were here. Now that Sam's made us whole again, he'd have his America back. Not that things are perfect. Far from it. The Death Stranding's still a thing, and people aren't free to go where they please. So the UCA's prospects don't look too great. But I'm not going to stand by and let it fall apart. After all, it's a symbol of everything my father held dear. Freedom and community. It's bigger than any one of us. Bigger than all of us still standing. We're only here because of those who came before. My father and everyone else back through the generations. I appreciate that more these days, I suppose, and I want to honor the people who made me who I am. That's why I've joined Bridges. I've spent too long wrestling with the past, obsessed with getting revenge on Higgs. But the past can't be changed. All I can do now is build upon it and help deliver everyone a brighter future. Fragile Express is back in business.
So she's basically like she's working specifically with Bridges now and doing the damn thing.
Yeah,
That's
she's
pretty
doing the
cool.
damn thing. She's back on the saddle, And I think like just to touch back on that, I think it has more of an impact, a greater impact of story than like, oh well, here's a love interest. She's like found herself again and her sense of self-identity.
Yeah. I like that. I do like that. But yeah, so Mr. Hartman.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Mr. Hot Man.
He's the guy, right?
He is a guy.
I like Hartman.
I do too.
He's a good character, I think. Again, I think a little underutilized for my tastes. But they do all of that like building for him like right up top, and then he's basically used as like a conduit for dumping all this information about Death Stranding on you that you know that you're supposed to carry with you and know about. So I don't know. How do you guys feel about Hartman?
I like him. I think he's the most, aside from Deadman, he's the most human character in the game. Just 'cause he's relatable. Aside from the whole like dying all the time.
Yeah.
But no, he feels he's got like a tangible emotion. Like he's desperately trying to learn about the Death Stranding to try and find his family, and that's something that's really touching to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so.
And just the fact that he's trying to maintain, it seems like, culture from before the Death Stranding with his like library.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hartman. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Chris. Go ahead.
You know how much you like Otacon,
Yeah.
and I feel like you kind of identify with Otacon.
Me?
In a way. Yeah.
I can see that. Sweet angel baby Otacon, yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I identify with Hartman
Okay.
a little bit. Yeah. Just because like he is an obsessive like me. Like, I'm kind of a workaholic, and I think that's his answer to his problems is to also be a workaholic.
Yeah, I can see that. Cause like Heartman's definitely like, if we have to like say who's who comparatively, like Heartman's definitely this game's Otacon, right? Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
he totally is.
So, yeah, I could see that. He's very much like, he's very much incredibly invested into his work, obviously, since he fucking dies every few minutes to go like research and find his family,
Yeah. So that's his like general story, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hartman began his studies at the beach after losing his family in a pretty unique way. He was hospitalized. Well, it was a heart surgery, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then his wife and her daughter were returning home to retrieve something for him, only to find themselves caught in two simultaneous void outs, which left a heart-shaped crater. And the hospital wasn't directly affected, but it did cause the power to fail, and that caused his life support to go wonky.
Mm-hmm.
And he found himself on the beach, and this is shown in the game, and it's really this was heavy for me. I don't know about you guys. So Hartman's on the beach, and he's surrounded by the souls of the newly deceased, including his family.
Mm-hmm.
But when he's trying to reach for them, that's when the defibrillator starts to restart his heart, and it forces him to return to the living world. So he never really came to terms with the loss of that family, and he's been trying to find a way to move on. But he's just not able to because he keeps searching the beach.
Yeah. And then he has this, like, apparently this ability to travel across, like, a bunch of different beaches as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, again, I'm struggling to remember if this was explained or I just didn't get it. Is this explained, like how he's able to do that?
I just assumed that he went to a random beach. It wasn't like he was like selecting one.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So that's the sort of the case I got. Like he visits his beach is the main beach, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the one where like everybody was crossing over when the void out happened. So I think that's what it is. It's like his beach is connected to the other beaches in a way, and that's like what ultimately Amelie is trying to do is tie all these beaches together and draw them in and kill everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. He has that genetic deformity, myocardial cordiformia, where his heart looks like an actual heart shape.
Yeah. I'm assuming that's what the surgery was about. I think like they were trying to because
like
your heart doesn't
trying to
functioning correctly.
If it's shaped like a fucking heart.
Yeah.
Like a Valentine like cartoon heart. Like yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do we feel about Heartman?
I like Heartman.
I do like Heartman.
Good. Yeah. I think he's one of the pleasant characters in the story.
Yeah, I think so. I'd say pleasant is good. Like I never like that was the thing about Heartman is that like he was one of the characters that I never like questioned like if he was like
good or bad,
good or not. Yeah, he was just like dude, you know.
Yeah, he's a pure character.
And I've been trying to figure out why that is. I don't know why I feel that way.
Like how do you like just like why you feel like he's not like shifty like Die-Hardman?
Yeah, like why you trust Heartman so implicitly right from the start.
Well, I think because he like from the beginning he gives off this like vibe of just like I'm here for science, man. Like I'm just here to do this. Like he's very like he's very directly that kind of person, I think.
He's just the facts, man.
Just the facts, man. Like he's not like he just doesn't seem like he's trying hard to pretend to be something, and I think that's what does it.
Yeah. So it may not surprise you to know that there's also a interview, What Became of Heartman.
Oh, I wouldn't have guessed.
Yeah. So the text from that interview reads, countless trips to the beach every single day, each spent searching in vain for my wife and daughter. Such has been my existence, my fate, if you will. After all, if each person's beach is their own, then the worlds each of us inhabit posthumously are also unique.
Mhm.
If that is the case, then even death shall not reunite me with my family. That is why I must search beach after beach after beach for any trace, any clue, anything that might lead me back to them. Death is not the end, after all, and the past is never dead. Indeed, it's not even past. I decided to give up my quest, for I've come to realize it will change nothing. I must move on with my life. As a matter of fact, I already have. I've met someone. Her name is Samantha Spade. I call her Sam. A spirited Hispanic woman. You can ignore how frustrating it is to live life in 21-minute... you can imagine how frustrating it is to live life in 21-minute intervals. Speaking of which...
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting. He moved on.
Good on him.
Moved on. Yeah.
So, but the implication there is that, like, is he like free of the cycle then? Like, is he not dying anymore, or like?
No, I think he's still dying. I mean, because that's what I think is what the end of that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
that's what I thought it implied. I feel like if you do that for such a long time, like as much as he did, like I feel like not doing it would like cause issue.
I will say because I don't think he has a choice of whether he.
Yeah, I don't know if because of like his condition. Yeah, he might not.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a choice. His heart stops, and he has to wear that defibrillator to jolt him back to life.
Mm-hmm.
So, maybe he's not. I think what he was doing before was like pushing the defibrillator to its limits to where he could spend more time on the beach.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe he's not spending as much time there anymore. But I guess he still has to like die and get jolted back. So that's got to be a pain.
Yeah. But if Samantha Spade is willing to support him through it, then good for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I find it hilarious that he's dating somebody named Sam.
Yeah. It's
a little on the nose, a little weird.
It's a little creepy. Because he's the one that wrote the big thing about, like, we need Sam, but nobody can find him, and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a little weird. Interesting. I don't know. That's another one. Heartman is another one that was very like surface level. Like they kind of explain like a lot of his backstory just like right in his chapter.
Would you say that he wore his heart on his sleeve?
No, I just think I would. I think I would.
Yeah. Cole's sick of my shit. This is why he doesn't come visit me.
Yeah. Yeah. He did it, and then he was like, "I regret this instantly." And then, Chris, did you read his Civil War journal that he sent to the group chat when you were asleep the other day?
Yeah, I did, and I told him I was like, "You should just wake me up."
That's what we told him.
I could do that to my boy.
I said shock and awe with baguette, but
no, I couldn't do that to my boy.
Well, I mean, I woke up earlier than you did.
It's true.
And I just went back to bed.
Yeah.
But that's neither here nor there. We're doing character analysis for Death Stranding, and we owe it to the listeners to be mindful and serious of the topic that we are about to broach on, which is our ultimate character.
Princess Peach, yeah.
Yeah. Amelie / Bridget, the character that has caused us to have a double slap bet when we go on our boys trip.
Hey.
Yeah. So
Can't
that's
wait.
that.
Oh yeah, I forgot about your double slap bet.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we still don't have fucking like there's no clear. It's not clear.
Not.
Yeah.
No. Just gonna have to slap
Fuckers.
each other. I get to hug Sam, and then I say we save the slap for when we get to Zach.
Yeah, I think so. I think Zach needs to be there for that.
Yeah.
Well, you could just slap Zach.
Oh.
We could like go in to slap each other and like turn fast
And then turn and slap him.
Wow.
Just like hit him with like some like Boondock Saint stuff. Just like turn just real quick. Just
Yep.
Yep.
Well,
Shepherds we shall
now
be.
he's gonna He's gonna listen to this.
No, he won't.
Zach does listen to the show.
No, he doesn't.
He sure does.
No, he doesn't.
He sure does.
He doesn't know how to work a phone.
Oh my god. Doesn't know how to work a phone. Wow.
Oh dear. But yeah, so Bridget, Amelie, same person. Holy shit.
Yep.
Right.
I don't want to like spend years talking about this because the lore behind Amelie Bridget could take an entire episode, right?
Yeah,
like we've been recording for
really
a little bit
could.
already.
Yeah.
We could double the length of this episode just by talking about Bridget and Amelie. So I want to know what you guys think are like the key points, like the bullet points, the key aspects of Amelie and Bridget that we need to understand. Because throughout the game, so this is my first one. Throughout the game, we are told about the idea of the Ha and the Ka, which I believe the Ha is the body and the Ka is the spirit or the soul. And this idea that Bridget is the Ha and Amelie is the Ka of the same person. Mm-hmm. So Bridget Strand, president, her Ka was on the beach and was Amelie, and that's what that is. So they're the same person.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's my first bit of understanding.
Amelie is half of Bridget's soul.
Yes. Okay. So we're agreed on that part then.
Yeah. And Bridget lied and said that Amelie was her daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Because Amelie doesn't age.
Yes. Had surgery when she said that she had a surgery when she was young, which Bridget did have a surgery when she was young, and then said that she had to be hidden away or what have you, spirited away to a different land.
She had uterine cancer.
Yeah.
In her early 20s.
Yeah.
And she was bedridden at the point that we meet her in the story in a chirogram, the Oval Office. And that's the request that we get summoned. The president wants to see us.
Yes.
So Bridget is presented to us as Sam's mom, but we know that's not true.
Mm-hmm.
She adopted Sam after killing Cliff and the BB, Sam's kid, or excuse me, God, this gets complicated.
It sure does.
Cliff's kid, Sam, who was the BB, dies, and Bridget goes to the beach to save the baby, to rescue Sam and repatriate him.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how Sam becomes a repatriate.
Mm-hmm. This is a lot. This is a lot for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then Bridget dies.
She has a contract with Sam. Sam has to incinerate her body.
Mm-hmm. And then what happens after can only be described as fucking an odyssey.
Yeah.
Yeah. So your job is then, now this is the whole crux of the game, is that your job is to go rescue Amelie from Edge Knot City. Edge Knot, yeah. And bring her back so that she can reconnect America and be the president. And she's sinister as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
And I cannot be blamed for thinking she was a goddamn bad guy.
No, you can't.
Right.
Thank you.
But there are moments where she is also caring.
Yeah, I know, and that's why we're slapping each
that's
other.
I'm about to say. That's what I'm saying. Like that was the points that got me. I was just like, just misread the situation.
So, over the course of the game, we kind of learned that Amelie was never really trapped in Edge Knot City because she's, of course, on the beach. She is not. She is not like this. She's controlling everything. She's the mastermind behind everything. Find out that Bridget's a stone cold bitch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Killed Cliff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He also killed Sam's wife.
Yes. Also killed. Did she?
Well, okay. She is. So, Lucy Strand,
Yeah.
Sam's wife, kills herself,
Yeah.
but it's because she's having nightmares.
Oh,
And-
caused by. Okay.
And she has nightmares because she's pregnant with Sam's baby, Louise, and she's suffering from Doom's nightmares.
Okay.
So she confides in Bridget what's going on, and Bridget takes her to the beach and explains everything and tells her that the nightmares are real and it's a sign of what's coming. So Lucy kills herself to try to prevent it from happening.
Sure doesn't work.
Yeah, it don't work.
It don't work.
It don't be like that.
It
So
really
Bridget,
don't be like that though.
Bridget's not a good person.
No, she's a terrible person.
No.
But she's also not a person.
Yeah. So she's a extinction entity, which are these creatures that cause these like major extinction events. And she's there to end the world, essentially.
Yeah. Not only is she an extinction entity, she is
Yeah.
the final extinction.
She's like the end all be all. Life will not recover from this one.
Yeah. And pulling a Thanos. I am inevitable. At the end of the game, we still have not stopped her. We have only delayed the inevitable.
Yeah.
So
yeah, lots going on there.
I think that covers it for Bridget for the most part. I mean, we talked about how Bridget killed Cliff.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about Bridget using John.
Yeah.
And uses Sam.
Yeah.
And we started talking about Amelie, who is the other half, but it seems like Amelie is the reluctant half of the extinction entity.
Hey, can I do another timeout really quick?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
1 minute ago, Tommy just tweeted, #Die-Hardman #4, a little insight and history of the man, the myth, and the legend, #John Blake McClane, #Death Stranding, and he posted a What Culture article about every major character ranked and explained. I'm sorry to interrupt, Chris, but like I couldn't.
Oh, no. You can always interrupt me to talk about our boy.
Okay, cool.
Jay.
Cool. Anyway, continue, sir.
Yeah, so Amelie, right? Amelie seems to be the reluctant half of the extinction entity because she's like telling Sam that she wants to help us, and she gives us a choice of what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's
Correct.
the situation with the end of the game where we're on the beach with her and we have the gun. Right?
Yeah. Yep.
We choose the stick or the rope.
Right. And so the whole idea is that you choose the rope. You go hug her.
Right. Yeah. How about that?
How about that? Yeah.
How about that?
So I guess like, and that's just kind of the idea behind it there is that like she's doing all these weird things to convince Sam to get to this point. And then when you do finally get to this point, he fulfills this like prophecy, destiny, whatever of like maybe not ending it, but at least delaying it for a significant amount of time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Humanity's got 10,000 years tops.
Yeah. And we're sort of given the hint that like the next stage of human evolution, Maligna Lochna are starting the space program again. So
Yeah.
it seems heavily indicated. That's a lot of what the story is, right? It's heavy indications that this is what's happening, not direct knowledge of it happening.
Yes, exactly.
So the heavy indication is if humanity can get to space fast enough, then they'll survive the next stage of evolution.
Yeah, exactly. Cole,
Sam,
what do you have to say about Amelie? You and me had a lot of knockdown, drag out brawls about Amelie over the last couple of months.
Yeah. I mean, there's not a lot I can say about her. She's not great, for one. I mean, that just goes without saying, obviously.
Because the thing about her is that even though like she does give you that like option at the end, she's still really fucking shifty, like kind of dirty, like sneaky person.
Yeah, no, exactly that. And
for sure.
Like the whole, whenever you find out she's like, oh no, I could like teleport. I'm like I mean, I was infuriated. And then the reveal of like, I'm not actually here, and all of this was kind of a farce, and
yeah.
But the thing that I did cling on to, as far as like, I guess it goes back to what Chris was saying with her being reluctant, was like you seeing those flashbacks of her with Sam when he was a kid,
Yeah.
Being that kind of comforting place for him. But at the same time, it's kind of groomy. So,
yeah. Yeah. Very creepy, very groomy. Not great.
Yeah.
I'd argue that she's a villain for that, just grooming a child.
Oh, no, definitely.
Yeah.
If you're grooming children, you're a villain. Like, 100%. I'm just throwing that out there. I know that's a hot take, but yeah.
Hot take, don't fucking groom children.
If you do that, weirdos. Turn off the podcast.
Yeah, if you do that, turn off the podcast. Never fucking listen to us again, and please promptly lose yourself in the nearest ocean.
Yes.
I really hope Drake doesn't listen to the podcast.
I hope Drake does listen to the podcast. God.
Oh, man, that just went 0 to 100 real quick.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. No, I mean, as in, I hope he doesn't listen, because we don't want this.
Okay, there you go.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
And
correct.
Just to be very clear, what I mean by those kind of people are people who groom people.
Yes.
Yes.
Correct. Wow, we
Metal Gear Monday's hot take. Grooming people, not cool.
Yeah, not cool. 0%. Negative, like 100% chill on that one.
Yeah, kind of funny coming from an analysis podcast of a story that involves a lot of grooming.
Yep.
Both stories.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
If you groom, you're for sure a narc. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
No, worse than a narc, because we use narc as a term of endearment sometimes.
So then a mark ass bitch.
Mark ass bitch. Yeah, there you go. Anyway. I don't like, I want to talk about, like, there's so fucking much here.
Yeah?
Yeah, about Amelie. Amelie. Fucking.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's what her name means, is like, I am a lie.
Yeah. It's also French, right?
Yeah.
Lie, the soul is a lie.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah. Like, I just have no idea where to go. I have no idea.
Yeah. I mean, so we're kind of left with like Amelie choosing to like sit at the end of the world and just wait
Mm-hmm.
and like hold it off until we're basically like she's doing this Princess Zelda thing with Ganon, right? To use another princess from Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
And containing the extinction while everybody tries to get off the planet. Because Earth is just going to shot.
Yeah, it's going to fucking be dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's just kind of like this harbinger of doom no matter what happens.
She is. Yeah. And we learned that like there are other extinction entities.
Mm-hmm. She would be the sixth one.
Yeah. And that the extinction entities are characterized by their connection with the other side.
Yes.
Right?
I believe so, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, from what the ending.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about the ending.
Mm-hmm.
Context of this. Now that we've kind of run through all the characters. And talk about BB. So at the end, when you take BB out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's that moment where there's timefall and you stand outside and it's not affecting you.
Mm-hmm.
But did you guys see like the little BTs that were hovering above Lou?
Yeah.
Sam.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I and there's 5 of them.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of got the hint that like Lou is now the extinction entity.
See, I kind of figured that too. That's kind of what I thought as well.
I did not get that at all.
If not like, or like some kind of like weird, like maybe like not even like the extinction entity, but some kind of like weird reincarnation of like Bridget.
Mm.
Okay. That could be a thing as well. Because the idea, like the reveal at the end that Lou is the girl, like I think that might, like that could lend itself to that.
I thought it was just being an homage to like the daughter that Sam lost.
Yeah.
Well, that would be fine if it was just one.
And just that, honestly.
Yeah. Well, that would be fine if it was just one, but there were multiple. There were exactly 5 of them.
Mm-hmm.
So that, I mean, yeah. I like that. That's an interesting read, Chris. I figured that's where you were going with it, and it's an interesting read, and I'm here for it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It was just a very strange situation.
Yeah.
For sure.
Very, very strange. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think we need to talk about like all of like the crazy like different beats that the story takes with her, because like I think the important thing to note is that she's a fucking liar, and she's this extinction entity that is now currently waiting at the end of the fucking universe to blow up the world. And
well, so Amelie does say that they can't willingly go against their purpose to cause a mass extinction, but they can bend the rules or delay or lessen the extinction event.
Yeah.
And she does say during that big long dialogue vomit at the end that all of the previous EEs had the power to end all life just like her.
Mm-hmm. They just chose not to.
They chose not to. And they chose to let life prevail in the end. To their own attachment to the living world. So while it did result in an extinction, it wasn't a mass extinction. And
right.
I think our events in the game prevent another mass extinction from happening.
Gotcha. So it'll happen, like an extinction will happen again, but it just won't be the end of all life as we know it forever.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we got a few 100,000 years to evolve to survive that.
Correct. Okay.
Extinction event.
Okay.
Which we'll find out in Death Stranding 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Boogaloo! Nugadishu! Hey.
Zach will be happy about. He's gonna break out the Rhodesian Ranger panties.
Oh yeah, gonna break out the Rhodesian Ranger panties for that one. Gotta do it.
You gotta.
But yeah, I mean, I guess there's not a whole lot more to say. I think if we're gonna focus on the particular part about Amelie, do you have like anything? Either of you have anything else that you want to like add to the cap on it?
I mean, like that's. I mean, it kind of goes back to what we're talking about. Like, is she evil? Is she not evil? Like, that is intrinsically not an evil thing to do. She's literally that's literally her. She's an ancient entity that is holding off the death of millions because she does care for man. So that's seen. I could see that as an act of benevolence, but at the same time, I'm kind of thinking, well, it's part of her programming. You know, just what she is. It's just in her nature.
Yeah. Well, I think
so. That's why I think she's such a polarizing character. That's probably where I would leave Amelie.
I get the sense that you're right, but I get the sense that the shady part of Amelie was Bridget.
Yeah, 100%.
And that Amelie is a little more direct with us.
You know? Yeah.
Not saying that absolves her in any way. There's a lot of stuff that happens in Death Stranding that like everybody's got a little dirt on their hands, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even Sam.
Yeah. Nobody's really clean in it all.
Yeah. Yeah. But you know, it goes on. The cosmic dance continues.
And on that note, so too does the cosmic dance of this podcast continue. Thank you guys for listening once again to us ramble on about stuff. If you want to find out what we're doing on the internet, you can go to www.metalgearmondays.com, where we post all of our episodes as well as links to all of our social media and things like that. Facebook.com/MetalGearMondays, Twitter @MetalGearMonday, Instagram MetalGearMondays, Patreon.com/MetalGearMondays. If you'd like, we have a Discord server and a bonus podcast. You heard kind of a sample of what that's like last week. When I was gone, these boys did a great job with that episode. You can listen to the Patriot Club there for $2 a month. And we've got a lot of other stuff. And I think we might be restructuring like what we're offering pretty soon here. So keep an eye out for that. We'll give you more news when that happens, or if it happens after that going forward. What else do we have? We have merch shop, bit.ly/MGM store. I'm going to be cycling in some new designs and cycling out some new designs. So if you have I don't know what's leaving yet. So if you have a favorite and you've been sitting on the fence, go check it out and grab something because it may be gone soon. Never know. And that's about it. I think YouTube as well. We're on YouTube. Cole, where can they find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter @IamColeDuncan, on Instagram @Subterranean Homesick Brews, and on PSN @IamColeDuncan.
And Chris, where can they find you on the internet?
Find me on Instagram @ChrisHamptonII. Same for Twitter. And I'm on PSN and Xbox as Proto Dude.
Hey.
Or you could just pop in the Discord. I honestly spend a lot of time in the Discord during the day.
The Discord does got a lot of play from us here. You can find me on the internet @Sanjul on Twitter. That's SANJUUL. Also find me on YouTube bit.ly/Sam Does a Thing, and PlayStation Deadpool Alpha. And then also the other thing is Zach. You can find him as well. Author Zach James on Twitter and Instagram. And then you can also check his YouTube channel, Maverick Rooster, which is also his gaming presence as well. But Maverick Rooster, he's playing some games on there, doing a good job. I just caught up with his playthrough of Gears of War with Chris that he's doing currently. It's very good. I was tickled by the episode where you encounter the Berserker for the first time, and Chris goes, "Ah!"
There's a lot of Chris going, "Ah."
There's a lot of Chris going on.
Series. So if you wanna hear your boy scream, check it out, because I don't like spooky stuff.
So So yeah, if you'd like to just follow us on all those places. And on that note, boys,
Yeah.
help.
See, I had to tie it all last week, so I'm passing the torch here.
Well, so I admitted in the last episode that I don't actually know any of our outros.
Yeah. Well, do you know them now?
No.
I did them all last week.
Yeah, I kind of forgot, Cole. I forgot already.
Well, one of these days, Chris, you're going to know all the outros to our podcasts that we do. And when you do, it'll be like we have like a connection or something.
Yeah. Maybe.
That was one of them, by the way.
I feel you and I might have like a connection. Something.